Alright, so we were doing like the area between curves before break. And we're still doing area between curves, but now they're going to intersect in two spots. It's really not that big of a, it's not that big of an add-on. Go ahead and do this part. Find the x values of the points of intersection for these two. You get your calculator. I would not do it by hand. There's no benefit to it. I mean, yeah, the benefit is if you're that lazy, I guess. But I don't know if it's easy to solve by hand.
Hey, I know one of them.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I also know.
Yeah.
You got zero
I
now?
bet you
got
got
zero.
Two. Oh yeah, no, I got two of them.
Yeah, I don't know that first.
Probably even three if they're being nice. I think they're being nice.
I'm going to guess negative
Yeah.
3 halves. Wait, did you guys get 2?
I got negative 2, 2, and 0.
That's what it's supposed to be.
The graphs.
How is the graph? What?
So we got negative 2, 0, and 2.
Yeah. That's all the x values.
It doesn't
Oh.
have it on
The
negative.
graphs. It's -2.
It's the intersection point, not where it is that.
Oh,
I did that.
that's exactly.
Had the same like thought, yeah. So it's where they cross, right? I was looking for that value for some reason, but it's where they cross. So it's -2, 0, and 2. And then you just got to know which one's on top in each region, which you could, you know, if you're familiar with curves, you know, x squared, x cubed, what they look like. Sometimes you can reason your way to it. If you don't, plug in, like, if I plug in -1, I'll tell which one's higher in this region. If I plug in like 1, I would find out which one's higher there. But I know this one's got to be the x squared one because that's a parabola. So this is g of x. And this guy is f of x because x cubed has like 2 wiggles. And then you are just assigned, you're just asked to set these up. And you can actually save yourself a ton of time. So the reason I showed you this ABC is more for when there's like a bunch of decimals, like if you got -2.3654, blah, blah, blah. You can write it here once and then not have to write it over and over again. It's not that big a deal with -202, but you can go, like here's the absolute shortest way that I could write this. For now, I'll show you a shorter way in a second actually. Nope, 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 that's not it. So that's like area A. I should not use A because we were doing that. That's area P. And then if I went from B to C, now G of X is on the top, F of X on the bottom, times dx, and that's like, I don't know, Q. So a couple things. Like one is like make sure you understand what I'm doing is the top minus bottom thing. Like these are your left and right. That's top minus bottom. These are left and right, that's top minus bottom. Second thing is realize like I just kind of substituted my way through the whole problem, so I'm not having to write all the things. So instead of writing 3x to the third minus x squared, I'm allowed to write f of x because they told me that's what f of x is. You're allowed to write that also, but it's a lot easier to do this. And then the a and b thing, so I found where they intersect. And I could put -2 to 0 and 0 to 2, but I'm just showing you like ABC is an option to do as well. And there is another way to do it, but it's not often helpful. A lot of times these are multiple choice on the AP test, and say just set it up. and they won't give you this as a possibility, but if you did from A to C of the absolute value, at this point, you don't even need to know which one's on top. Like, you can just blindly, because if you put the wrong one on top, guess what happens to your answer? It just becomes negative, or if it was negative, it becomes positive. So you get the same like value, which is whether it's positive or negative when you mess up the top. So if we're taking the absolute value of it, I don't really care. At the end of the day, that will work. Like, that will take everything, it'll subtract these, it'll make it so this part kind of bounces up and you're finding the area up there and it is the same area. That is a perfectly valid answer. It's just not usually that helpful. If it's a free response, go for it. Unless I'm like being specific on the test about like, I want to see it without the absolute values, which I probably will do. So like, this is a tool you can use, it's just not something you can use often. Oh, that was this part, I guess. Yeah. we did that part like everything. Alright, let's look at the second one. So same deal, start off by, let's do this one without a calculator. Solve it by hand and see if you can set up, how many integrals will you have? Actually, there's two different answers. You could do 3 or 2, yeah. Because you could just double one of the. If you want to do like the F and G, you're allowed to declare that yourself and say like, I'm going to call this one F of X, and I'm going to call this one G of X. But you don't have to. You can just put the equation instead of the F and the G if you want. It's just an option. I'm always afraid I'm going to like copy it down wrong, so I just do F and G. You're stuck, that's cool. Let me just wait a minute. That's not cool. It's okay.
Awesome.
You're stuck, that's your stance. So I'm going to start by setting them equal to each other. So 2 minus 1/2 x squared equals 1. So if I subtract 2, then like take the opposite of both. I'll end up with that. Or you can put this over here and this over here. Double both sides, x squared equals 2, and then you'll get positive and negative root 2. So that's your negative root 2. That's your positive root 2. So from negative 2 to negative root 2, that's this little section here. The one on top is the 1, and the one at the bottom is the 2 minus 1/2 x squared. Another reason I like the F and G is because it prevents you from doing this, which is like a very common mistake. Like, you guys realize like I'm supposed to subtract that whole chunk, right? So I do need parentheses around that second part, but it's just really easy to forget. So again, you are allowed to say like, no, this is f of x, this is g of x, and then that issue never comes up. If you're gonna do the equations, make sure you're subtracting the entire equation. And then what I would do, if it were me, I would just double it, because that's gonna just take care of the other one. I could also just go like from root 2 to 2 and do the same thing, but you could just do times 2. Plus, and then between negative root 2 and positive root 2, the parabola is on top, minus the 1 is on the bottom. And if you add all those up, you'll get your answer. How many had that, or close to it or something? Questions on? It's not too bad, right? Like, I don't really even feel like I'm talking. Really? But keep going. So go ahead with 8, 6, and then, go ahead with 8, 6. They are all legitimate, fair game problems, including the test prep. We have like only a few sections left, so you're probably looking at a test like that next week-ish. And then from that point on, just be doing review, practice AP tests, like really old stuff. Who's taking the AP test? If you're not taking the AP test, you sort of gotta pretend you are, because that's the stuff we're doing after the next test. Here's the warm-up for my geometry class next hour if you want to take a game. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So they claim, because I taught this third hour and second hour, they claim that they've never been taught average. Is that a fair statement?
No, that's, you have, I think you have to, that's
When did you learn it?
middle school,
Not in high school, that's for sure.
Yeah, not in high school.
like middle school.
I
Like
think
No,
I
like
have to,
sixth grade.
Like third grade.
right?
Miss
Yeah, I feel
Krebs, I remember Miss Krebs very vividly teaching us about
Okay.
No, that was like sixth grade. Third
There was-
grade,
I don't know how, I don't know how
third
they do
grade,
it
it's like
over
multiplication. Then you have to know division. I was
That
taught
was second
division.
grade. Second grade was
Yeah.
multiplication.
I don't know
Because
how
I
they do
cried
it.
one time because I didn't pass. It was like here
That's funny.
12 times tables.
I think
and
I
didn't
remember that,
pass,
I
and
think I
cried.
remember that.
That was third grade.
No, I remember Miss Krebs.
They
was
taught us
teaching
division
us.
before they taught us. So it's like,
They have to.
you, yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's the only way you
it
can
has
do
to
that.
be like late elementary school to early
You're
middle
like
school.
4th, 5th, 6th. But they probably just forgot. But
I totally remember.
How do you,
like they end up like, not all. There are like 5 or 6 kids that I don't know what averages. So then I said, find like what's in the middle. They're like, oh, 15. So they like knew the concept.
Yeah.
It just surprised me.
That's what I asked. I don't want to change.
I have a concept of it.
Can anyone tell me why I'm asking them to learn average in geometry? Yeah.
I saw the cars and I got happy.
I was diagramming how people absolutely suck at Michigan lefts.
Oh.
And they cross over.
Yes.
It's like, it's predetermined. If you're in the outside lane, you stay in the freaking outside lane. I've almost been hit, like I just anticipated at this point.
They have a few
No
like
one
that
ever
in
goes
Kansas.
to the
So
That I see
like
less
double.
often. But I'll see people go from
Michigan left.
from here to this lane, like all the
yes,
time.
they have a lot of those in
I thought-
Canton. And when my mom would
Yes.
drive me to my orthodontist, it was so bad.
On
because-
Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people just didn't know how to use their brains on them.
Yes.
Forgot.
No one ever knows what lane they're ever.
It's
It's
literally
pretty
look.
important.
I
You can
know.
look down and see the white lines that you're in. It's pretty easy.
I don't know,
actually.
I always see people just crossing lane. I'm like, you can't just choose one, you're in one.
She was like, I
It
feel like
extends.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's because you are.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about being wrong.
Goodness fit.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness
Oh,
fit.
yeah. That Kai is more